This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're back for more, thank you. Every week we feature stories in 7 topics to help you sketch out your vision of small business success. We look at getting started, acquiring capital, accounting and bookkeeping, staying on the week in business, running your business. We also focus on an industry and share a success story. You'll hear from business professionals, community leaders, and our own team of experts. They share their experiences, highs and lows, so you can build and grow your company. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and live streaming on wishtv.com. You can also see much of our content and share it on demand at BE&O The site grows every week with new stories and resources. While you're there, sign up for our podcast. Listen anytime, anywhere on your schedule. We also encourage you to sign up for our weekly newsletter that we update every Tuesday. So, to the business of business, here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunity. Matt Murphy addresses the state of the lending market. We meet winners from Connexion's 5 for 500 event. Our CFO, Ty Shea, is back with tips on charitable giving. Find out how you can turn a major event into a marketing opportunity. And we visit the woman-owned business that makes the iconic Indy 500 winners wreath. First, it's time to get started. May in Indianapolis means time at the track, which has made a pledge to appeal to an increasingly diverse group of fans, sponsors, and racers. It's a place where deals happen. The Office of Minority and Women Business Development just held a diversity outreach event at IMS.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
The event last week brought together developers and contractors at the Speedway to focus on best practices for engaging certified XBE subcontractors and suppliers on publicly funded projects.
So Jimmie McMillan, I am the Chief Diversity Officer and Senior Corporate Counsel for Penske Entertainment, which is comprised of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, and IMS Productions. One of my roles is obviously to be a voice and an active strategic partner with all of our business units and how we can make sure that we're inclusive of our entire community in our efforts. So we have a plan that we created 3 years ago called the Race for Equality and Change. Roger Penske, Mark Miles, and I sat down together and put together a comprehensive plan on how we were going to transform not only the Speedway and IndyCar, but all of motorsports. It starts with our employees and our workforce, both full-time and part-time, and setting actual goals, measurable goals in hiring and promotion, development, and throughout our workforce. Second, on the list is procurement. Working with minority and women-owned businesses, we have actual targeted goals that we set in terms of spend amounts that we want to achieve in terms of working with MBEs and WBEs, and that's passed down throughout the organization to individuals who have spend authority. And then we work with, obviously, the teams, our promoters, our partners and sponsors on their diversity goals, making sure that we're connecting and partnering together to make sure it's not just happening here in Indianapolis, but happening throughout the series and the other 16 places that we race at. We also support pipeline programs and pipeline initiatives like our NXG Youth Motorsports program, Riverside Soapbox Derby, engineering programs at IUPUI and Purdue to make sure we're creating pipelines into the sport. And then finally, making sure this place is welcome and inclusive to all by reaching out and inviting. Over 10,000 fans, new and diverse fans, every year we've invited to the track to experience the track so that they know we want you here at the greatest spectacle in racing. And the last thing you want is to lose a customer because they feel like they're not welcome. Everyone has value. People spend where they're wanted and where they feel welcome. And the world is becoming more diverse. There are less monolithic white people, and there are becoming more brown people and black people and people of mixed cultures and races and descents. And this concept of black and white and brown, maybe in 30 or 40 years, we won't even really know what that means or how that plays out. And so you have to get in front of that. You have to understand that we can't be a country and a world that's divisive. Every opportunity we have to have outreach and to connect and to sell our products and services to others, we should take advantage of that and do that so that this sport that we love and these products that we love grow and develop and have larger value and larger outreach.
You know, we knew it would be a great partnership with IMS. We've done different events out here before, and so the month of May I thought would be great. We could use it as a carrot to get folks to come out. spend some time learning about doing business with diverse businesses in the city, but then afterwards they get an opportunity to connect and do some networking, get to watch a couple of the cars go around a little bit. So it's just a great opportunity and a great partnership for the city. We create some relationships. That's really the end-all goal for today, is for our developers and general contractors to meet and get connected to some of our diverse construction-related vendors that they didn't know before, and that hopefully turns into a long-term partnership where not only do they bring some of them on some of their projects, but they maybe help them grow, maybe create some mentor-protege relationships, and then 2 to 3 years down the road, we see some of those XBEs move into the position of being a prime contractor and everything else, and they bring that next generation of XBE businesses behind them.
I think being out here at the Speedway is so important. For one, it's the month of May, right? That's what Indianapolis is known for. And the fact that the Office of Minority and Women Business Development realizes we need to be where the folks are, where the people are doing business, conducting business, networking with people. And so when it comes to our minority businesses and women businesses, we've got to be able to get them in the mix with everyone, right? It's all about growing Indianapolis for everyone, for all residents, and providing those resources and connections to help people get to the next level with their businesses. There is a lot going on in Indianapolis. So to give you a perfect example, with the Office of Minority and Women Business Development, a couple months ago, they held an actual meeting at Riverside Park, inviting all minority businesses, XBE businesses, to discuss the capital improvements that will be going on in the parks. As you may recall, we've had major investments thanks to Lilly Endowment and also some of the city's investments for the American Rescue Plan, with a lot of projects are going to happen. So bringing everyone together to be able to say, this is what's going to happen, this is what we need to do. If you're not certified, get certified. We will help you get certified, get you in the system so that when we are starting to build, you are a part of that. You can be a part of the possibilities of what the next steps are when it comes to construction projects and really other events and projects that are going on in the city. They need to call the Office of Minority Women Business Development. Let them know what kind of business they have. I mean, we need everything from retail to construction and everything in between. I mean, there are a lot of things going on in this city, and we're all about making sure our residents are getting the most out of what they are trying to do from a business perspective. So we are here to be a resource, period. When people leave what we're doing here today and connecting people, I want them to continue those relationships, build on those relationships, have conversations so that when new projects are coming, those XBE businesses, those new businesses know and are aware of what is coming up and how they can be a part of it and what they need to do to get prepared for that. And again, connecting with the office to make sure that they have the tools that they need.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
We'll hear more from the event later on in this show. If you'd like to learn more about getting started and the work of the Office of Minority and Women Business Development, you can find links at beoshow.com. If you'd like to ask us a question, like your business featured on our show, email us at beo@wishtv.com. Coming up, Matt Murphy offers some predictions about the future of lending. That's in our Access to Capital segment on the other side of this break. Time on Business Equity and Opportunities, we talk about accessing capital. We're 15 years now past the big banking blow-up of 2008. This year's bank failures, though, have refired some of those old fears. We asked a local expert about how the lending market has changed and what the future may look like.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to Capital.
Matthew B. Murphy III is co-founder and president of Emboss Partners, a firm offering services in consulting and capital acquisition.
You know, there's a lot of moving parts to our economy, and a couple of those that actually impact the way decisions are made have to do with the financial health of our economy. You know, for the longest time, probably for a decade or more, interest rates on lending, whether it's consumer lending or corporate lending, money has been cheap and it's been very, very stable. Rates have not fluctuated very much at all over that period of time. And so one could plan for long-term growth and expansion and not have to be too concerned about the sensitivity of a rising interest rate environment. Well, guess what? In the last couple of years, that's all thrown out the window. In monetary policy by the Fed has enforced interest rate hikes, and they've come very frequent, and they've been steep. And the frequency and the timing of those hikes from one period to the next has real meaning to the balance sheets of companies. So what might be affordable today in terms of a debt structure, tomorrow may not be, because my cash flow is being crimped by a rising interest rate environment. The markets, the equity markets and bond markets have also been challenging, and so there's just hasn't been that many places where you can go to get a boost in the value of your dollar and the value of the investment returns. So interest rate sensitivity has demanded that both lenders on one side and borrowers spend a lot of time in detail looking at that very thing. What if rates rise another 1, 2, 3, 5% over the course of time that I'm attempting to grow my business? Can my business afford that spike in interest rate growth? And not only can we afford it, but when we apply our own return criteria, because we want to grow, we want to make an investment in our people and in assets and buildings and places and things, we want a reasonable return on our investment. So does all of that at the end of the day spell success for all parties? And that's been the challenge. There's a lot more discussion about interest rate sensitivity in the discussions of the adequacy of cash flows from business operations to repay it. So very challenging indeed. Plan, and plan some more. Sitting down with professionals, accountants, other financial financially smart people who can help to steer the discussion about where a business is going, what's reasonable. Do a lot of benchmarking in your industry. If you're telling me you're going to grow 20%, but the average growth as documented by industry profiles from a benchmarking standpoint only says that about half of that is really practical, then you've got to really convince me that 20% is doable. And then I'm going to do a reverse interest rate sensitivity analysis. What if you don't grow by 20%? What if you only grow by 10%? What does that do to your company's P&L and balance sheet? So, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and I think planning and having the right folks at the table to assist with planning is paramount. In our country, we've had quite a bit of success over the long term with rising returns over time. So, I would say that, you weather the storms from one economic cycle to the next, and you just try to figure it out, and you try to compete, and you try to do what you can do to be competitive, and manage and maneuver through the uncertainty of financial markets. That's a daunting task for a lot of small business owners, because at the end of the day, most businesses have to pass their costs on to the buyers of their products or services. So it's tricky, but I think in the long run, we're going to get back to a more, I think the pendulum will swing, but I think it'll come back to a middle ground. I think we're probably going to see some swing in the next 2 to 5 years. Anything you read today points to a high probability of a recession. That may or may not be the case, but planning, I think, has to be part of the process by which you prepare for either event, whether it happens or it doesn't happen, whether it's intense or whether it's mild. You've got to have plans that are fungible, and you have to be nimble enough to weather the storm. So.
If you'd like to know more tips about gaining access to capital, we have links on our website, beoshow.com. Up later, Taishay weighs in on why it's smart business to be charitable. First, though, this week in business, local entrepreneurs win awards from the Indy Chamber Hispanic Business Council. We'll take you to the ceremony after these messages. It is time for This Week in Business on Business Equity and Opportunities. Tuesday, the Indy Chamber Hispanic Business Council gathered corporate and civic leaders from across the city to recognize 5 people paving the way for Hispanic progress. We caught up with some of them at IMS for Conexion's 5 for 500.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Marcela Montero is director of the Hispanic Business Council at Indy Chamber and took time out to introduce us to some of the honorees.
We're here to celebrate 5 Hispanic leaders who are making an impact in our community. The event is called Conexion 5 for 500. We are bringing the stage for them to connect with each other. We're highlighting their accomplishment and the impact they are making in the whole business ecosystem.
The Hispanic Business Council is set up to support the growing business community in central Indiana. All kinds of businesses, every industry, with the goal of connect them with mainstream America so they can do procurement together and grow business community. So the beautiful thing about the Hispanic Business Council is that because it's a member or a part of the Indy Chamber, we get access to all the programs the Indy Chamber offers. Education, training, access to loans, grants, you name it. So again, every business that is a member of the Hispanic Business Council can access all the resources of the Indy Chamber, networking opportunities like today. So we're so excited to be part of it.
Conexion is our event series. We have 4 events a year. This is our main event of the year and it's huge. We have over 300 attendees. We are connecting our community with what is Indy about. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a staple of Indianapolis and it's great to bring our community to this location.
I am Michelle Cox. I am the CEO. I employ lots of people, Latino community. And I'm involved in small charities and different groups and things that have to do with the Hispanic population. It means that we are probably changing the way that the Hispanic community is being looked at when it comes to business. We are changing the way that we are doing things, and I feel like I'm trying to set an example for other Hispanic people to follow. My business, we do roofing, siding, gutters, and all exteriors. We also do storm repairs. We do residential and commercial. It is amazing because it means that if I can do it, a lot of people can do it. Other women can do it, not just men in the Hispanic community, but also women, which is very, very important to me, that other women feel capable and they feel like step by step they can achieve their goals and their dreams.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
If you or your business have an event you'd like us to mention, send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. Coming up later this hour, a look at how major events can lead to major business connections. Next, though, accounting and bookkeeping and charity with Ty Shea. Keep it here.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Time on Business, Equity, and Opportunities to talk accounting and bookkeeping, and today, charitable giving. This is Ty Shea, the Chief Financial Officer of Circle City Broadcasting, and knows the ins and outs, of course, of the business world and when business owners want to do good things. Ty, good morning. Good to talk to you about this topic.
Hello, Scott. Glad to be here. Thank you.
And doubtless, more than most, we hear from small business owners, I want to do something good for my community. Often, the business grows and is built and thrives because of the community, and then giving back becomes a priority. There's a difference, though, between personal giving, what I might give out of, my personal life, and then the business as well. When you think of this idea of philanthropy for businesses, giving for businesses, whether it's in kind, your services, your goods, or dollars, from a financial perspective, what are some of the important things to think about?
I think, first off, from a high level view, I think it's, it's important for the company, and I think most companies try to make an impact with their giving. And usually that involves making it at the local level. And often the consideration is, what kind of, impact can I have? What am I passionate about as a business owner? And, where, can my portrayal and dollars be best served? From an accounting standpoint, generally, those gifts, assuming they're a properly organized charitable, company, are deductible. And so, that is, certainly may play into considerations. But I think more importantly, if you're at a stage where you are willing and able to contribute, I think the bigger consideration is, what kind of impact you can have and making sure it gets to the place that you need it to go.
When you set about your year's plan, for instance, is it, in terms of the books, a good idea to say, okay, this year I'm hoping to do this much work? I guess what I'm wondering is there a danger in just saying, oh, I like that, that's a good idea, here's this, and oh, that's a good idea, here's this, without sort of like some guiding number for the annual?
I think if it's an expense line on your income statement, it should be budgeted, right? And that involves looking forward-looking and not simply writing checks, no question. I think it's very important to have a budgeted amount for every month, quarter, or year, however you choose to do it. And maybe you're having a better year than you anticipate, so you could, go a little higher on the expense line than you anticipated. But no question, just like any other expense line item, I think budgeting an appropriate amount is important.
You're the master of the crossed T's and the dotted I's. I'll say from my own experience that I say I drop a box of stuff off at the thrift store because I think somebody can get good use out of it. And then they say, well, do you want a receipt? I always have that little pang of like, well, I didn't do this for the receipt, but it helps. And I would imagine that's writ large in a business. I mean, you make sure that if there is a benefit you can draw from it, don't be ashamed of that.
Yeah, no question. And you hate to say you want to get credit for something, but in a way, that's kind of how it works, right? You want your impact to be known and felt, unless you care to go anonymously, which is, of course, always an option. But I think it's important that the community knows when you're doing and giving back to it as well. And I think that there's no shame in being proud of giving back to the community that you're trying to represent.
A quick curveball for you, because I'm not sure what the answer on this here is. I'm guessing you'll know. Is there a difference in terms of the ledger between giving dollar donations and giving in-kind donations? Like, say I bake biscuits and I'm going to give you 60 biscuits to serve at this 5K run.
No difference in how you recognize it. It can still be deductible as long as you can reasonably attach and can justify a dollar amount that is associated with that in-kind donation. They're both treated the same.
Well, it's always fun to be able to talk about good deeds. So, Ty
There you
Shane,
go, right.
Thanks for the
Exactly.
insight. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
To learn more about accounting and bookkeeping tips from Ty and our other experts, visit BEOshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. Subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. Listen whenever it's easy for you. Later, more from the IMS Diversity Outreach event. Next, though, how big events, like the track, can lead to big business. We'll clue you in after the break.
Time to get out of the office. And on the golf course, the Wish TV Great Golf Club is back and even bigger this year. Get exclusive discounts at courses all over the metro for one low membership price. Just scan the barcode on your screen or go to wishtv.com sports to buy your Wish TV Great Golf Club membership. See you on the links.
Go to wishtv.com sports to buy your Wish TV Great Golf Club membership.
On Business Equity and Opportunities, we always like to give you some tips on running the business day to day. To see how to turn big events into big opportunities, we thought we'd show you how our team handles the opportunity offered by motor racing's biggest month.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
Wish TV has a long history at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Last week, we invited friends and clients to join us for a behind-the-scenes look at the famed track.
People do business with people they like. People do business with people they respect. That opportunity doesn't happen when a proposal's in their face or when you want something from them. So yes, when you let your guard down or you get an opportunity to get to know that person, you get to know more about how they like to do business with you or how they like someone to do business with them. So these opportunities are always great, and it only advances the cause to make it a better experience for everyone.
Well, I think it's important because it's a great way to get to really know somebody, right? I mean, when we're sitting in a meeting, you're sitting in a boardroom, you're sitting in a conference room, I think everybody's a little bit guarded. You get them out here and we're having a good time, you really get to know somebody for really who they are and really get to know their business a heck of a lot better than we do in a little bit more of a formal setting.
I love it. Every year we do this with Channel 8 and we come out. I get to talk to people, and the great part about it is most of them say, we buy from Godby's. We bought furniture at your place, so I get a chance to thank them for doing that. And you talk about small business that has grown. We started with nothing. I mean, my dad borrowed $5,000 from my grandpa and went for it 49 years ago, and now we're one of the predominant players in the furniture industry in central Indiana. And it's because of things like this that Channel 8 does, that we can network with other businesses and learn from them and still have a good time here at the track.
It makes me so happy. My friend Elaine Beadle over at IDDC would say this is what we need to promote this amazing Indiana that we have, because of course we want to treat our residents that are here really well, but we want to convince some people that aren't residents that Indiana is the place to live, work, play, study, and stay, and these types of events help us promote that. It's fantastic.
It's important because you give opportunities not only to thank your clients for doing business with you, but you also give clients opportunities to talk about how they can do business with each other, which I think is important because that's the way we leverage and keep, the experience, kind of for them of having different platforms to do business with other people.
I've already connected with a couple other vendors that we know and we work with and love through other organizations. They're here. Met with one of our favorite realtors here. And so, just being able to connect with other industries and even some of the people from Wish that I haven't met yet. So it's been fun to even meet some of the new people there.
I think the opportunity is better for a small business than large business, because think about it. What opportunity would you have to talk maybe with, how do I do business with you, or how can I scale my business to be able to accommodate certain contracts? This gives them that opportunity where a small business can talk to a larger business, you know, or a larger business who may be looking for diverse businesses can find them here when the guard is down, not when the proposal or the RFP is up.
You're always looking for, as an owner of a company, you're always looking for that time where you can be with your staff, kind of let down the guard and kind of think and hear from each other and kind of speak from the heart. And you're not in a work environment, but you're able to chill. So there's been times when I've been able to experience that, but I just experienced it here.
My takeaway from today is that we have some incredibly strong partnerships in our state, and days like this we get to celebrate that and keep that Hoosier momentum moving forward, and then put it on the stage for the world to see and really lift it up. And that's what makes Indiana great. I'm so proud to be a Hoosier.
Every time we take an opportunity to show an underserved community about something that they haven't been exposed to, great opportunity. Every time. And I think us as a company, we've done a great job of looking for those experiences or those events that haven't been otherwise exposed to underserved communities. We've done a great job of that. And everybody learns and everybody's better because it's challenged to be more inclusive for all things that we do. Make yourself memorable, right? And it's not about what they can do for you, but what you can do for them. Make sure you stay to that and be key and let them know, hey, is it okay if I send you an email tomorrow? And you got to send that email immediately, because keep in mind, they're judging you on what your follow-up is. That's your credibility. So it should be immediate, and you got to say, hey, I'm such and such, I'm with this business. We talked about this, X, Y, and Z, so they make sure that they know who you are, and they're more apt to respond to you when you follow up. But that's key. You got to follow up immediately, because guess what? They're going to move on to the next, or they may have another event that happens tomorrow. And I hate to say this, they may not remember who you are.
If you'd like to learn more about the topics on our show, running your business day to day, and the other 6 every week topics that we do, visit BEOshow.com. Later, meet the florist behind the winner's wreath. Next, though, it's our industry focus, so focus on these messages. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Business Equity and Opportunities, and time for our industry focus. Summer brings a boom in construction projects across the country and, of course, here in Indiana.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, Industry Focus.
When the Office of Minority and Women Business Development gathered at IMS last week, much of the talk was about the best ways to involve minority, women, veteran, and disabled-owned businesses in public-private partnerships. One of the biggest opportunities lies in the construction sector.
One is the month of May. People are enthusiastic, and when they're enthusiastic, they're going to do something about it. So why not bring them to the track and talk all things being intentional about equitable opportunities for diverse vendors. With the excitement, we have developers and contractors who control the contracts. Let's bring them here, let's talk strategies, how to do that, and then the afternoon session, we're having diverse contractors come in and meet them. So it's not just about a list. Let's personalize the list, get people in person to meet, formulate a relationship, and then magic happens after that. Think beyond the 16 scopes of work within construction. What can the subcontractors do for you? Second is learn their capacity and build a team around them. It's not just the big scopes of work, but what does it take to get the work done? And lastly, think of diversity when you do purchase orders. The subcontracts are written, you need to buy product. Let's get more diverse suppliers in. Let's be intentional and equitable with opportunities. There's over $10 billion just here in the state of Indiana and another $30 billion in surrounding states. Now's the time for architects, engineers, and construction. Everyone is building, but they're looking for talent. So it's not just getting diverse vendors, it's also getting workforce into the trades and helping us build it. We can design it, but we need people to build it. And I love the fact that even with IU Health and their building, or the city and their building, it's gonna positively impact the community. So before the building gets built or before the project is done, let's get you engaged so you come back and use that infrastructure. But now's the time to get in construction. The city has so much going on. It's exciting, and let's get people in the trades. The resources are the people who do things well. So I'm always on the phone with the city of Indianapolis because they have the list of certified vendors right here in the city, and I know the people are right here in the city. Secondly is workforce development. If they find the people and they develop them, then I'll take them into the opportunities. I work with the union contractors and the non-union. I get them excited about the opportunity, but most importantly, I level set the expectation, especially when it comes to diversity, that we expect you as a qualification to not only have the schedule and the cost and the quality and safety, but diversity is up there as the top 5. And once you find that to be important and a qualifying reason for you to get a subcontract, then you'll do the work. And I'm here to help. Our future is bright. We just need to get our talent to stay in the state of Indiana and get them those equitable opportunities to change their socioeconomics so they don't even have to look in any other states. So right now it's just being the most attractive employer, get the opportunities, train the people, and make sure that they stay here in the state of Indiana.
Well, my company, Nubian Construction Group, we're outreach consultants on several projects with the city of Indianapolis. And what makes it the importance is, it is small businesses, especially in the area of construction and professional services, those kinds of businesses and other businesses related to supply and building projects. It's not just about building the building, but it's about building people's lives. And what better way can you build people's lives than have an opportunity for them to get engaged on projects, and therefore they can build their capacity and grow their companies. Well, I would first start, you already talked about a plan, having a strategy in place. And it's important. We're at the 500 track today. It makes it exciting. Getting in the race, we know there's a lot of competition around this area. However, there's enough for everyone to get engaged. Developers and contractors working with minority and small women businesses. We call them XBEs and VBEs. It's a great opportunity to come together and work on projects so these companies could become strong and stronger to advance our economy, and also it impacts our entire community. It makes all of us winners. So as we're at the track today, we think about competition, we think about timing, we think about communication, but it's all about everybody becoming winners. Everybody's a champion. The city wins. Project owners win. Minority and women-owned businesses win. Family wins. Everybody wins. It impacts our entire community. We all become champions. Well, I tell you what, I think my story is a very inspiring story. I was working in a company, a great company, decided that there could be some other things I can do to contribute to the business climate. I come from a trucking background, and so having built my company in the trucking industry, male-dominated industry, but having found opportunities to build relationship within that industry. And my goal was, how do you build the family business? But not only that, but how do you build other businesses to get in the pipeline, but in particular women. So I have seen huge strides, huge opportunities for women-owned businesses to have an opportunity to grow their businesses. And so that's very exciting to me, because that's a passion. Seeing women reach their fullest potential, but also seeing businesses reach their fullest potential as well.
Up next, meet the Yorktown florist responsible for the most famous wreath in auto racing. Stay with us. One of our favorite times on Business Equity and Opportunities, our success story. This week, about an Indiana florist who has decorated the necks of Indy 500 champions for 30 years and who opened her own shop on the strength of her floral talent.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
Julie Vance is owner of Buck Creek and Bloom, located in Yorktown, Indiana. In addition to creating her signature designs for local special occasions, she's world famous for assembling the iconic Floral Racing Award.
You are in Yorktown, Indiana, at Buck Creek and Bloom Flower Shop. Well, I've had my flower shop for 15 years. I opened in November of '07, but I have been doing flowers since 1988. Well, my path was just hard work at other flower shops, just a couple in particular. I just loved that kind of work, and it was my artistic outlet. So I always knew I would like to be a flower shop owner. And so I finally got it done in 2007 when I opened this shop here in my hometown. I would not have started a flower shop if I didn't have good design skills and know the business, because it is not for everyone. It's really hard work, and you have to be really dedicated and put in long hours, especially when you're dealing with last-minute funeral business and stuff. So you just really can't have that weekend off or plan for anything when you're in the floral industry. So going in, I knew that I had to make that commitment, but I was extremely successful as an employee at other shops, and you know, I seem to have what it takes to do this business, or else I wouldn't have come this direction. Since 1992, I've been the designer that has the privilege of making the Indianapolis 500 winner's wreath. It is a BorgWarner tradition that the winner of the race is crowned with a wreath, drinks the milk, and then his face is put in silver on the BorgWarner trophy. In the beginning, it came, unfortunately, because the talented man that made the wreath before me passed away, Bill Cronin. BorgWarner was seeking out someone else to take on the job, and fortunately we had a connection at the shop I worked at that was working for BorgWarner that suggested, hey, you go to this flower shop, which meant, you know, I was there and as the designer. So ever since I've started doing it, I've taken extremely good care of it and made sure that it's exactly the same, because it's tradition, and keeping the products and everything that I need in stock has been challenging because everything changes and certain things are discontinued. So at that point I try to buy up, you know, the things I need in quantity and hang on to them specifically for the wreath every year. Well, the wreath is made on a polyurethane wreath, which means it's like styrofoam, but it's thicker where it won't break with all the excitement around the winter. So that's the beginning, and I do that because we don't want any kind of wetness against their suits. Then I cover the wreath in clusters of the same exact greenery that I use every year, which is variegated pittosporum and cocculus leaves that are grown in Florida. So the wreath, the greenery is inserted on these little steel picks into the foam. The actual orchids that I get from New Zealand are in a very small water vial that is inserted. And there's 33 blooms of those to represent each driver starting the race, and then I finish it off with this red, white, and blue French wired ribbon and little small handmade checker flags, because they no longer make the little flag, so I have to make my own. Well, most of all, I'm looking forward to them being done, delivered, beautiful, perfect, and I'm at the race and the weather's fabulous. There was one time in particular that I pulled up and it was an autograph signing. And the second we opened up the doors to the van and started removing the wreaths, I got a huge crowd around me. And when I say we, it was me and my daughter. And actually someone's foot kicked the easel and Grace caught the wreath before it hit the ground. And after that I was like, you know, we probably need to not do it in that manner. So this year I'm going to be delivering to the administrative building. And yes, I just sent them an email saying this cannot be bumped or dropped because it would. I mean, if it hit the ground, I'm sure orchids would break, and being that, you know, 33 blooms, no one would probably notice, but I would, and it would. So yeah, I want it to be perfect until it's used. Well, I've just gotten to a certain level where we're ready to expand and probably add a few employees. I tend to gravitate towards some larger events that takes a staff. So right now that's my immediate goal, is to kind of improve in that area. The wreath is my bonus job. That's my my special week. I think everyone in town kind of knows. And they'll be like, oh, I'm sure you're too busy that week, you know. It is kind of my Christmas or my holiday or my gain for all my hard work. But yes, the rest of the year I'm doing, you know, multiple funerals and happy occasions, weddings and graduation parties, or anything that, you know, someone might need in the way of floral. But I do. I have a wonderful following, and I'm very blessed to have a good business and 5-star. Well, here at the shop, my signature look is probably what I call my sticks, because we use a lot of like natural vine and curly willow and pods and shelf mushrooms and moss and all those real natural things mixed in with the flowers and plants, and that's what sets them apart. And I've been told so many times, you know, I can walk into a funeral home and spot your pieces from a distance, you know, and especially if it's for someone that it really lends to, like if a man's passed away, he's been an avid fisherman or a woodsman, or like I've got this, you know. I've did all kinds of stuff like that. So. What makes me the most excited about my business is really all of the people's lives that I've touched at difficult times. You know, they'll come back and say, oh, Father's casket spray was so lovely. Everyone that walked up said how beautiful the flowers was. It's a conversation piece. It takes, you know, it just something good in a hard time.
That is Business Equity and Opportunities for this week. Our thanks to everyone who shared their business and life experiences with us to then share with you. If you need more information about anything you saw on the show today, visit BEOshow.com. You can also find past segments from each of our 7 weekly topics. Listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter that we update every Tuesday. If you have questions, a suggestion, a success story to share, send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. Quick program note, we'll be off next week for Wish TV's Daybreak Race Day coverage. Then back in 2 weeks with more Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Have a great Sunday.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation, InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, and Fifth Third Bank.